Hi guys, so Ian Paisley Jr., as you probably know, has been one of the loudest cheerleaders for Brexit in Northern Ireland. As a Member of Parliament for the DUP, he has used almost every moment in the House of Commons to preach against the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is a consequence of the Brexit he championed. He has called on Boris Johnson to scrap the protocol, he's called on Lord Frost to scrap the protocol, and now he's calling on Brandon Lewis, the Northern Ireland Secretary of State, to scrap the protocol as well. Paisley was grilling the Northern Ireland Secretary in a select committee on Monday, where the DUP MP issued a threat, either to the British government or to the security services in Northern Ireland. I'll let you be the judge of that. Here we pick up on the back and forth between the two men. Apologies for the audio, Ian Paisley wasn't sitting close enough to his microphone.
And scrapping it is not on your agenda.
Well, Article 16 doesn't scrap the protocol. One of the anomalies I saw somebody commented in the press recently, I can't remember who it was actually, but I thought was quite a fair thing, is you've got the anomaly at the moment of people who want to, who don't like the protocol at all, want us to use Article 16, which of course is part of the protocol and therefore reinforces the protocol, and people who support the protocol don't want us to use Article 16, which is part of the protocol. So you've got this slightly odd dynamic going on at the moment. Look, Article 16 is part of the protocol. It is the right and appropriate thing to use if we can't come to a resolution in order to set aside areas of the protocol itself for the benefit of people in Northern Ireland. It is part of the toolkit. It is something that is on the table. We've been very clear we will consider using it. If we have to use it, we will. We don't want to. If we wanted to, we would have already done it. We want to get an agreement with the EU. That's where the focus is, and that's where the focus remains.
After nearly 9 months of recognising that the protocol, Article 16 could have been triggered, are you looking maybe at Section 38 of the protocol as an alternative measure to actually legislating for Northern Ireland over some of these matters which are causing fundamental problems? You've identified as unsustainable, no longer sustainable.
But as I've also said, our focus has to be, and it rightly is, both for myself, the Foreign Secretary and the Prime Minister, on resolving these issues by agreement with the EU. And we will strain every last sinew we can to get that agreement. I fully appreciate we are not seeing anything like the flexibility or the pragmatism we would like to see, or that I think is required in order to resolve these issues at the moment, but we will continue to work on that. Colin, I don't know if you want to add anything from that.
See, people do join the DUP Secretary of State, and they do feel, well, if we're going to be treated like second-class citizens, and after 9 months of patience and working and negotiations and persuading, and the government does nothing, you can understand why some people think that perhaps street politics is the only thing the government listens to.
Ian. Now, when Ian Paisley talks about street politics, he's talking about, this is dog whistle, and I've said this before, Ian Paisley and the DUP will toss the stone and hide the hand. They will egg on sinister elements in Northern Ireland. So when he says street politics, what he's talking about is bus burning, bomb threats like we saw last week. This is the type of thing that Ian Paisley is talking about. How if the people of, when he says the people of Northern Ireland, he's talking about loyalist paramilitaries here. If the loyalist paramilitaries are not satisfied, then they're going to find an alternative. Now, I've said before that the British government is playing a very dangerous game here. On the one hand, they're trying to say that the protocol is not working, and the EU has been inflexible and things like this, which plays into the narrative that the unionists and loyalists in Northern Ireland, the Brexiteer ones, now there are pragmatic unionists, I'm not including them, but there are unionists, extreme unionists and Brexiteers in Northern Ireland, who are looking for an excuse for a fight. And Ian Paisley is egging these people on. The DUP is egging these people on. They're not getting their hands dirty, of course. They're not getting involved in this violence themselves. But they're willing to, as I said before, issue dog whistles to these people. And the British government is not helping the situation. The British government should say, we signed this agreement. We're going to enforce this agreement because we signed it. We were told by including your party to deliver Brexit, and that's what we're doing. This is a consequence of Brexit. Ian Paisley, did you vote for Brexit? Yes, you did. Well, this is the consequence of your vote. If you have a problem with that, tough. And it's not right that you issue threats like this. This is a threat, saying that the people of Northern Ireland will resort to if necessary, to street politics.
I may not have that point of view.
Ian, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
You couldn't turn it.
Yeah.
I'm not catching a lot of what you're saying.
But you do understand that that is a point of view that some people have, and that government is actually potentially feeding that by not taking action.
And see, he's blaming the British government here by not taking action. The British government are trying to play two sides off each other. They're trying to appear tough for Brexiteers. Yes, we're going to stand up to the EU. But on the other hand, they understand that they can't push it too far because the United States and Joe Biden will have something to say about it. And the EU may impose sanctions on the UK if they don't implement the protocol correctly. Instead of actually implementing it and facing thugs in Northern Ireland, facing them down, the British government is trying to play a very dangerous game here.
Well, I think, first of all, I don't accept that. And I think it is wrong for anybody to think that there is any other way to take things forward other than through proper diplomatic negotiations and process. As I said, I defend people's right to freedom of speech and proper and appropriate protest, but not beyond that. I think that's the wrong message to give anybody, and I wouldn't support anybody who takes things that way.
Now, this is the correct way to respond, but it's not forceful enough. You need to face these people down. And you need to call out those who have been egging them on, like the DUP and the Traditional Unionist Voice. They're playing a dangerous game. Either Brandon Lewis doesn't understand the DUP, or he doesn't care. And I don't know which is worse. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.